Parents of Reddit, what is the most absurd thing you have found on your kid's social media? Not technically a parent but an older sister. So my little brother when he was around 7ish had a search history of naked women and such. And when my mother found out and confronted him he cried and was saying he just wanted to be like Jack from the Titanic by drawing naked women, and he had a few pages of his attempted drawings. This was before my son was on social media. He was 7 or 8, and he asked if he could have some alone time in the office. I looked at his search history, big boobs, which turned up weird humongous photoshopped boobs, immediately followed by little boobs and then hot grills, which turned up page after page of Weber grills. I found my stepdaughter's musical lie account. She had a bunch of poor attempts at seductive belly dancing to various Evanescence songs. My friend told us about how he found his brother's search history. Girl Willy. Girl not have Willy? Why girl not have Willy? He was 10. Saw my 12 years old brother's search history once. Was literally boobs, butt and also vag. Pictures of my daughter, 11, posing quite harmlessly that went on to bum shots, wearing shorts. Someone pretending to be a 14-year girl asked her to do these shots for a modeling competition and send similar shots so she knew how to pose. She eventually stopped the conversation. The pics came through to my iPad, linked devices. Police got involved and also CRP. They originated from an account in South Africa, so Interpol took over the case and we will probably never get an update. Instagram never even bothered to respond to my report. This happened to the 12-year-old daughter of a friend of mine recently. She also happened across it much the same way and reported it to police. They ended up having a huge investigation involved with the FBI, and the guy has now been sentenced to jail. My friend's daughter was one of dozens he'd been soliciting. Had a co-worker bring in her kid during the summer so that she could run him to the local middle school for football practice when she took her break at 9. Since I was in training at the time, I was sitting with her at her desk and mine was not in use. To keep him occupied, I'd log into my computer and then she'd pull up YouTube so he could watch the Watch Me Whip song. Because apparently kids will watch that crap for hours. Well, one day she goes over to check in on him and says in a confused voice, "Who the heck is that guy?" So it turned out that it was still logged into my YouTube profile, where I had taken to watching documentaries about serial killers, and the kid had clicked on one of the recommended videos. Oopsies. I once found my sister trying to search hot boy pennies. She might have just missed an S, but I still find it hilarious. I like how she searched boy pennies just to make sure she didn't get girl pennies. Well, I have childlike parents. Weirdest thing so far was having to sit down and have a talk with my mother about how some things on Facebook are not real. My extended family lives in Houston, and during Hurricane Harvey my mother was driving my elderly relatives to hysteria by emailing them horribly photoshopped pictures of Houston landmarks submerged under 50 feet of water, followed by "It's a biblical flood, the world is ending. The news is lying to you. You're going to die if you don't get in your car and try to drive out of town right now." I talked to my stepdad and made him give me her password so I can shut down her account during the next natural disaster. When I was 9 or 10, my buddy and I were on the family computer doing whatever 9 or 10-year-olds do. My friend told me to go to protiginals.com. Innocent enough, except it directed us to a P site called Teen Freaking Live and we immediately panicked and closed the browser. My mom really chewed us out when she found it. I tried to tell her we were just looking for pretty girls, but she wasn't having it. I don't know what it is, but I'm willing to bet it's something I disapprove of. My 15-year-old happily announces he went viral because his comment amassed 1.5k likes on Reddit. "What did you say?" I ask. Pause. "I forgot. What's your Reddit name?" "I can't tell you." "Then why did mention it?" That my 12-year-old son searched for pro study tips. No joke. My son, trying to study harder. Never a million years and lives would I have expected this. Our wholesome comments. My kids are preteen. I was on their computer one time and found a series of internet searches. Kissing, making out, condom. When my twins were young, elementary school, they were looking up The Simpsons and accidentally came across cartoon Simpsons P. The computer was in the living room, so I heard them giggling and turned to see two guilty little faces. So hard not to laugh and so disturbing. What a conversation. The sight of Milhouse and Lisa is forever burned into my retinas. Looks like everything's coming up Milhouse. When he was little, my brother once wanted to help us find a cool new purse to order for my mom's birthday. He image searched fun bags, and my parents had to answer a lot of questions. When I was 8 or 9, I typed butt.com into the search bar because I was with a friend and trying to be funny, not thinking there could actually be a real website. Yeah, we were shocked to see that it was a real website with lots of naked ladies. We both ran screaming out the room and I wouldn't go near the computer for days. Not a parent, but my cousin one time got onto the computer when he was 11 or 12 or so and searched for naked 12-year-old girls. I was there when his stepdad checked through the browser history, and needless to say he and my cousin had a chat about acceptable search terms. Not social media, but once caught both of my nieces playing an animated game online where the objective was to spank a cartoon butt with a paddle. Every time they'd swing the paddle at the butt, it would emit the sound of a woman moaning. They couldn't understand why the game was inappropriate and were laughing hysterically while playing. My 15-year-old step-bro-in-law used my wife's laptop while he was visiting the house and forgot to clear the history. His Google searches included girls pussing, hot puss, puss willows, boobs and pussing frick. Not a parent, but some of my students, 7th and 8th grade, asked to add me on Instagram. The worst username I've come across is BootyWarrior13. When I was like 12, my dad found Dragon Ball Z hentai in my history searches and proceeded to look through all of the pages while I hid in the bathroom pretending to take a crap. I remember him yelling my name and having to mentally prepare to deny everything. LMAO. I'm scared as crap to have kids and find their pee searches. My girls are 8 and 10 and so far we've seen sucking boobies and Scooby-Doo frick. It's great. Parenting is great. Send help. Not a parent, but the other day my 12-year-old little brother posted a topless photo on Instagram with the caption "Frick boy." Not my kid, but on Halloween I saw a post on my 17-year-old cousin's Snapchat that was a selfie captioned, verbatim, "Any girls trying to come over here and suck on this spooky dong and get festive with some pumpkin spice lattes?" I immediately facepalmed, then laughed my ass off for a solid 15 minutes. When I was a little girl, I wanted to play some Barbie games or look at girl stuff, so I went to girls.com. Went downstairs to my mom crying in order to rat myself out. My little sister had something similar happen. She wanted to look at new bikes in order to decide what to ask Santa for. She went to dongs.com hoping to see Dong's sporting goods. Instead she saw a lot of schlong. Guess it runs in the family. A friend from work's son goes to a fairly strict Catholic school. One day I was walking out to my car, and she was outside yelling on the phone and generally freaking out. I waited around. She usually has a lot of funny drama going on. She hangs up the phone, looks at me and starts hyperventilating and then laughs hysterically. I was like, "Girl, what is going on?" She said her son's principal called she and her husband need to come to the school immediately, that her son will fill her in on the rest. She continues to tell me her son said he got caught looking at naked ladies on the internet, and the principal printed out his search history. He searched booby prawn and lady parts during class. She was yelling at her husband on the phone, telling him about the situation, and all he had to say was, "We should have taught him how to delete the history." Not a parent, but one time my mom made me really mad and my dad had to talk to me about how I googled how to kill my mom and why it's wrong to think killing someone will get me PS2 games. Not a parent, but when I was a kid I found an adult flash game website. I would go on it whenever I had the chance. Eventually my mom found out and she told my dad to talk to me about it. My dad and I got into the car and he started the serious talk about how the internet is a very powerful tool. I felt really guilty. Then he told me how to erase the browsing history. A guy on Instagram sent my 12-year-old stepdaughter and her friends dong pics. Not just once, but many times. The police are involved and he has been located in NYC, but we have yet to hear anything back yet. Freaking disgusting. That my son is an urban explorer. He's 14 and I saw some video of him and his friends sneaking into an old Air Force base and climbing to the top of an air hangar. Aunt of Reddit. I was trying to figure out my niece's age, but it was too late to call my mom and ask. I remembered she has an Instagram account, and I thought that might help me figure out how old she is. I looked her up. She has the standard tween Insta bio about what activities she likes and a list of like 15 of her BFFs, immediately followed by pondering, and I quote, "Mostly why do people hate me? She's 12. She is definitely 12. 9-year-old son's Google history. Do girls in England poo blood for a month? Can I do the inverse? My dad recently opened an Instagram account, and within 10 minutes of having it, managed to accidentally upload a screenshot of our Wi-Fi password to it. Like, I have no idea how he managed that. Even put a filter on it, for some reason. My 15-year-old dropping acid on Snapchat. So, not just crappy choices, but we're raising a kid stupid enough that not only created video evidence, which was beyond dumb, but to keep it under my story. Sigh. Checked my 11-year-old son's search history to find a number of interesting questions. Will my dong disappear when I'm 18? Will I become a girl? How do I save my dong? I asked him about his search history a couple days later and he told me that some kids in his school told him that when boys turn 18 they turn into girls and lose their dong. Those bastards. Hopped on my nephew's tablet and proceeded to pull up the internet browser. Immediately I was staring at a screenshot of an overweight homeless looking Santa, knocking the cornhole out of a much younger Mrs. Claus. I immediately asked my nephew what kind of research he was doing with his Santa video and his face turned fire engine red and he scurried back to his room. I have a 2-year-old and a 7-year-old. They both love to watch kids YouTube. Mostly these annoying toy unwrapping videos. I don't know. Anyhow, the other day I was working on my computer and they were playing Play-Doh. My 2-year-old comes into the room and asks my wife, "While I'm listening, mommy, I made this." My wife, "Oh, that's awesome." 2-year-old, "Do you like it? Let me know in the comments." My wife and I, D-E-A-D. My little sister did the same thing a few years ago. She really was just left alone on an iPad and watched YouTube videos all day. This led her to say things like, "Tell the people at home what it is. Click the like button," etc. I recently discovered my 10-year-old son has been looking up intercourse, but his computer has parental controls, so he was trying to look up intercourse on his Roblox game. Glad it wasn't worse. Girl and boy hold hand. Girl and boy kiss. Girl and boy kiss on bed a lot. Sophia the first epist dear 12. An old friend of mine has a younger brother with some disabilities, mostly mental. When he lived at home with him, around the age of 16, my friend caught him humping his peen. Don't ask. To bondage pee. He later made an account on a sort of fetish or swinger website, with a profile saying he was looking for someone to come to the family house and punish him. He used part of his tugboat money to pay for a taxi ride for a woman old enough to be his mother to come to their house for this, and she actually showed up, but she arrived as their parents came home and they had to meet. He quickly tried to make up a story about house cleaning, but she was firm and direct with the explanation. From then on, he had absolutely no internet access, with his brother going so far as to remove connection ports components from his computer to stop hot wiring of any kind. These days, he lives in an adult care home where he still has absolutely no internet access. There was an incident in 2014 where he stole someone's smartphone and locked himself in a closet, speeding through P and trying to access his fetish site account until the battery died and he was lured back out with food. Not a parent, but this happened with a person I know's kid. He was printing out P images and putting them in the elementary library books. He also photoshopped the librarian's head onto a naked woman and passed it around school, and he would harass her all the time telling her to suck his dong. He also started downloading dong pics to send to girls. He was 10 years old. He's in juvie now. Daughter was 6 at the time. She was supposed to be asleep and I go to charge up her Kindle and can't find it. Go to her room and quietly sneak in. I find her watching a video under a blanket. It's popular mechanics and how to build your own windmill. She had a mock model in the corner of the room she was working on. Definitely wasn't expecting that. We're a watermill house. Damn it. My kids are too young for Twitter or Snapchat, but they love to watch YouTube. I started getting notifications a few months ago from people replying to my comments on conspiracy videos. Found out my son has a curiosity about flat earthers and doomsday preppers. When my son was 8, my wife was looking at his tablet and saw his comments on YouTube videos. Quite a few comments along the line of "you don't know what you're talking about, you dumb's mother sucker bee," and others with randomly strung together cuss words that normally wouldn't be used together. He would get called out by others for the random cussing and he would say, "I'm only 8 and I can do what I want." Cuss word. Other cuss word that doesn't go with first cuss word. When we brought it up, he knew they were bad words but was repeating other vulgar comments he saw from other comment trolls and didn't fully understand the harshness of his words. Now his YouTube habits are much closer monitored and he hasn't done anything like that since. My daughters are grown up now, but when one of them was around 14 or 15 I opened up her MySpace page. She was telling all these kids that her mother, that would be me, was a raging alcoholic. She was telling them how I was neglectful and I didn't like her. At the time I was pregnant with twins, working full time and my husband was gone with the Marines a lot. I am not a drinker at all. Obviously we had a long talk. She was feeling left out with all the excitement over the babies. Still though, it was pretty hurtful. It took me a long time to get over that. My younger brother thought that when you entered more searches, it would delete the ones before at some point. So I'll look on his iPad one day and see a search for boobs. The search after that was cheese, and then cheese, and then cheese, and so on. So many cheeses. You have been visited by the cute papa of charisma and flirting. Smooth talking and successful flirts will come to you, but only if you comment, "Hey there, papa," below this picture. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check out another video, or don't. Either way, have a great day you magnificent people.